Hey, welcome back to horse racing today for the first time in maybe almost 2024, Terry. They
Yeah,
haven't canceled Parx the first
that's
couple of
right.
days.
Yeah, it
And
is. It's the first time. So,
well, I think they ran late last week, but prior to that, our Mondays and Tuesdays have been put on a snow day, if you will, or frozen day. It was sure as hell cold around here. And then, of course, I had my second dose of the vid-19. You would think if they're going to make a designer virus, Terry, they'd give it some positive side effects, like going to lose 10 pounds of muscle, of fat, and gain 10 pounds of muscle, and your cholesterol is going to go down, right?
yeah, I
Yeah.
agree. Yeah, yeah. My son
Why
had.
make a designer virus and then just all bad?
I know, and I really feel for you. I've had it 3 times, and my son just got over having it. So, anyway,
Yes, safe and effective. We'll go with that.
all
All right,
right.
Mr. Terry, we're off to Parx today. Bensalem, Pennsylvania, as we mentioned. They're not going to cancel. At least they haven't done so yet. Today, interestingly, I thought real quick, Terry, Turf Paradise. I thought they were out of business, but they're going to have opening day today.
Well, they are.
Yeah. Did you know that?
No, I thought they were out of business too.
Yeah. No. They have. They are definitely running today. You can get those picks at Turf Paradise along with Mahoning Valley as the free track today over at Guaranteed Tip Sheet. There is a link down in the description below. But you and I are going to off to sloppy Pensalem, Pennsylvania for race number 1. Terry, you have the honors.
All right, so let me get started here with race 1, which is a 6 furlong race. It's a claiming race for $7,500 claiming price. Purse of $21,000 for 4-year-olds and upwards, which have never won 2 races.
No, and if they run at 6 furlongs, the ones that typically do win races. Interestingly, in 2024, the track's changed a little bit over there. Stalkers are doing pretty good. 27% of the time they go wire to wire at 6 furlongs. Used to be the rail kind of struggled at Parx, if you remember correctly. But so far, Terry, the rail's been dominating. 2 and 3 have been fair. 4 through 7, they get a big penalty. 8 and out, a little bit of a penalty too. So some early speed will do well, Terry. We do 1,000 simulations to figure out who might have the lead. That's these numbers here. Based upon our projected pace, we look for what we call C-zone or comfort zone, based upon how fast we think the race is going to go and how well it mirrors some of the horses' best performances. We also want to take a look at horses for some value. 1,000 simulations using speed figures. We try to figure out what are some fair value. We want a sim odds to be lower than post-time odds. And then based upon that, the likelihood a horse has a shot to run above par for this level. And at this level, according to Brisnet, that's a speed figure of 77. Terry, what do you see?
Well, you look there, most of them show some speed, but that 4 has the most speed, I think. And then as far as the overlays, the 2 has a nice overlay from about 8 to 5 to 6 to 1. And the 7 has a small overlay, 5 to 2 to a little under 5 to 2 to 5 to 2. So anyway, as far as par numbers go, the 2 and the 7 are the only ones that show par numbers. All of them, but the 3 and 8 show pretty decent C-zone numbers.
Yeah, indeed. And you see some pretty strong numbers here. With the 4-horse maybe going to be on the lead with a strong C-zone. That's a combination that we typically like. I also like to spend some time looking at the shape of the race, Terry. Most of these horses want to be middle of the field back. So E's are your pilots, EPs can pilot or co-pilot, P's are co-pilots, PCs, they're your flight attendants. They can be pretty much anywhere on the airplane, but normally middle back. And then your closers in here, Terry. So most of these horses want to be middle back. Could give a little bit of an edge to the horses with early speed. Tough workout. It does look like the one that has a good shot, but there'll be plenty of horses that give chase early on. Middle of the speed, middle race, late speed. This is what's been winning at Parx lately. Looking at that, Bluey, the 3-horse, wearing blue, does have about a 5-point late pace advantage. So 1 length quicker than everybody else. And I'm finding that our total pace numbers, Terry, are highly predictive. Usually the winner is in the top 4. I think something like 62 out of 3 winners, when you go back and look, are in the top 4. So the 2, 3, 6, 7, 66% chance the winner's going to come from there. Terry, and you have a couple of them in yours.
I do. I like that closer, number 3, Bluey. He's finished third versus similar in his last race. Has a high percentage winning jockey. And then the 7, Z's So Good is my second choice. Ran second versus Tougher in his last race. Has the favorite, but he has a high percentage winning trainer who wins 20% of the races when bringing a beaten favorite back to race again. And they drop him in class today. Number 10, Bronx Tale is my third choice.
How did you like that movie, Terry?
Yeah, that was a good movie, really.
Yeah, the Moosh. Is that Charles?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Anyway, he's finished in the money 42% of the time at Parx Racing and has 14% of those starts were wins. The distance won't be a problem as he's finished in the money 50% of the races and won 25% of the starts. And number 6 is my long shot, has the highest speed favorite today's distance. His best start speed is fastest among today's starters, and he has a high percentage winning trainer and jockey. I'm going to play a $1 daily double. I'm going to use the 3-7 with the 3, 8, 9, and 10.
All right, Terry, for the first time in a couple of weeks, I'm going to start off with the 6 horse. Your long shot will be my top pick. Carpe All Day. This horse showed better pace numbers across the board in its last race and very likely to see some improvement in the second start after a layoff. Bronx Tale, you got off cheap, Terry, for $20, if you remember that lesson in that movie. A little better in its early race and late race last time out. Number 7, Z's So Good. That guy right there, been off since August, Terry. Tends to run some of his best numbers when he's coming off the bench, like today. Good, strong C-zone and, par plus, and should be at the right odds. Finally, number 2, Cowboy Jim. This is the one that has the top par plus, big overlay in here as well. Terry, sim favorite. I like the 6-10 over to 6-7-10 over to 2-3-6-7-10 for my opening trifecta. You know, I wish we could start a little bit early, or the unfortunate part is we get scratches and stuff like that that kind of push us towards the time that we get cooking. Terry and I, maybe somewhere down the line, if there are some changes, we've thought about maybe recording it the night before and editing it and put some nice music and video and all that kind of stuff over it, but we haven't quite got there yet because we kind of like the live interaction, right, Terry?
That's right. Absolutely.
We like the questions in the comments and the other picks. So if, like Heis at Parx, you have some selections, some picks that you like, some bets, some handicapping angles that are working for you, kindly share them with us. I've been running the numbers for what we put up in here in all of our data and keeping track of it in 2024 or so far. And again, some interesting trends emerging. And once we get over a couple hundred races, we'll start sharing them with some great regularity. Race 1, Mr. Terry, is about to get cracking. As it stands now, the 7 horse is your favorite, not a really big favorite, 5-2. Next up on the board is the 2 horse, Cowboy Jim, at 4-1, Mr. Terry. And just looking at that, the 7 horse, fair odds, 5-2, so you're getting good odds on that one. The 2 horse is looking like you're getting good odds there. Should be about 9-5. It's currently 4-1. Some good value there as well. So either one of those 2 horses, Terry, could make for a good win bet.
All right.
We're all just about in, waiting on the 8 horse, and then we'll be ready to go on this sloppy day in the suburbs of Philadelphia, PA. And they're off, and they're running. It looks like about the only horse that didn't really get a clean break is the 4, the 5. The 3 is kind of struggling a little bit there too, but maybe he'll come in and close. The 1 horse, tough workout, did find its way to the front, Terry. Let's see how that rail holds up in the mud there. The 7 horse, now 3-1, is in the nice stalking position, followed to the outside by the 7 horse. The 6 horse down on the rail, that one, Carpe All Day, saving some ground all day. They go through the opening quarter in 23-1. The 1 continues to set the tone, Terry. 7 riding comfortably between the 1 and the 8. 6 horse on the rail, trying to make up some ground right now because the 3-wide trip for the 8 horse seems to have dimmed its chances, although it is trying to make a move. The 7 has eked his nose out in front of the 1. The 8 horse is making a move up there, Terry. Let's see if he can do it. That rail, as they come around the corner, looks mighty heavy, Terry. So I think you're going to find the horses that are on the outside today probably have the best chance to win. Just looking at what I saw coming out of that turn, You see the 8-horse right now. He's pure talent going away to win. And then you got the 1-horse on the rail, the 7-horse fading badly. It went 8, 1, 10, 5. 8, 1, 10, 5. Neither one of us very close there, Terry.
No, I didn't have that 8.
Let's see the 8-horse here. What do we got over here with the 8-horse? Just outside that, number 5, right? This is that's because I went and said that 2 out of 3 come from there, right? So then all of them have to come from below there, just to kind of put me in a. But if you look at the track, Terry, just looking at that opening race there when they came out of the turn down the stretch, there's a lot of water right there. I'm going to expect that you're going to see a lot of horses that are on the outside today take that outside lane and not the inside lane, because
I agree with you. Yeah, that looks really sloppy.
Sledding.
Look at all the water there by the finish line even.
Race number 2, Terry. They're going to run 6 furlongs again. Hopefully we have some outside horses in our picks.
That's right. We might. You never know. But anyway, it's a 6 furlongs again. It's a $7,500 claiming race, $20,000 purse for 4-year-olds and upward, which have not won a race since October 29th.
Yeah, and again, closers. We saw a closer win right there. That's been their stalkers. That's been a good place to be. I don't know that the strong rail bias is going to be helpful today or not with all that water on the inside of the track. I think you're going to find 4 and out to be the best place to be, Terry. So some speed may be helpful in race number 2, Terry. We didn't see it kind of hang on in there. And while Taco Bean, he's going to have to figure something out.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, 3's got the most speed, but everybody else, the 8 also has some speed. So it may be head and head between those two. The 3 has overlay of 2 to 1 or just over 2 to 1 to 6 to 1, and that's about the only overlay I saw. Par numbers, all of them have decent par numbers except for the 1 and the 7, and all but the 3 and the 7 have C zones.
Yeah, and you got a nice chance to get to the lead, although I don't know how helpful that is for Taco Bean. Maybe not so comfortable up in there. Looks like maybe the 8. He's incredible. Back-to-back 8s might be the horse that's the most comfortable setting the tone early on. In race number 2, Terry, again, race that's kind of back-weighted in here. That played out okay in race number 1. The 3 and the 8, they kind of want to be up on the front, and you're going to find those 2 on the front about a length clear of everybody else. So maybe if they can run some comfortable fractions, they'll be okay. Late speed, super flyover, along with Rudy Rod, perfect silent cat. All of these guys are all in a pretty tight group together in here. So you should have a lot of competition coming down the stretch. And then, well, look at this, Terry. You have a bunch of them, all but 3. Only the 5, the 1, and the 7. And based upon what we saw in the first race, just go ahead and box the 5 and 1, the 7 in your exacta trifectas. But otherwise, you might look at a pretty competitive spot here.
Yeah, I think it's a very competitive race, but I started out with number 3, Taco Bean, finished in the money in his last 3 races, so been very competitive. Winning one of the races, can improve at the shorter distance because he's a speed horse, and he switches to high percentage winning jockey. He's incredible. The 8's my second choice, has the highest speed figure at today's distance, and his best start speed is fastest in today's starters. He's actually tied with another horse, which is the 10, Ruby Rod. He won his last race at Parx Racing, has a highest speed figure at today's distance, and his best start speed is fastest among today's starters. Super Flyover is the 9, is my long shot, has finished in the money in his last 3 races, finished 3rd versus similar in his last race, has a high percentage winning jockey. Because I think this is pretty wide open, I spread out a little bit on a pick 4. I went with the 3, 8, 9, 10, used the 6, 8, and then the 8, 9, and then finished up in another race I think is wide open with the 5, 6, 9, 12.
I, in this race, have a horse that you don't have. So I don't know if that's good for me, bad for me, or otherwise. I'll go with bad for me. I'm going to start with the 4-horse. Perfect, silent cat. Didn't run the top last race speed figure.
Well,
it is.
What? I think Perfect Silence scratched late, didn't it?
Did it? Is that why he's in my picks?
Yeah, let me see.
No, he's in the race.
No, you're right. He didn't. So
he's the favorite right now. But
That's
Perfect
right.
Silent Cat didn't run the top last race speed figure last time out. Was 3 points clear of anybody else, which is according to Andrew Beyer, the barometer that you're looking for. It does have a lot of back class and also likes this distance. 6 times out in the money, 5 times with a couple of wins. Rudy Rod, the 10 horse in there. That guy is a consistent performer, Terry. You see one race after the next, they look pretty much the same. Last time out, though, you saw all of the race internals get better. And one of the things I'm noticing in my race notes over and over and over again for winners is that they have a workout between races. Rudy Rod hitting that check mark. He's incredible. Of course, we're talking about Terry and his 49ers today, especially Mr. Brock Purdy with his running ability. This guy should be better in the third race off of a layoff. You know, that classic handicapping angle. And this is the distance he likes to win at. 8 times he's won in 19 tries. Taco Bean, Terry, going to get to the lead, off to a fast start. You know, sometimes like those Taco Bell, food, their first few bites are phenomenal, but the last few bites, this one makes a big, bold move as well, usually in the middle of the race. So might be coming out of that corner with a head of steam. I'm going to do a pick 4. I don't have your top horse in there, Terry. I have the 48, 10, 2, 8 in the next race, 6, 9, 10, and then 6, 9, and 12, Mr. Terry. And that was race number 2, folks. I'm sorry. A little bit of a COVID lapse right there with the forgetting to put what race number we're on. But we won't do that for race number 3, Terry. And if you're going to be doing some of those contests today at horse tournaments, a lot of them start in the third race today, Terry. So let's give them a little bit of an edge.
All right. Well, another 6 furlong races, but it's a maiden claiming race of $10,000. It's a $19,000 purse for maidens, fillies, and mares, 4-year-olds and upward.
And then we've talked about 6 furlongs does favor stalkers. Looks like the rail used to stink. It's done well. I think the track conditions today will favor the horses to the outside from what we saw, Terry. But if speed is going to do anything in race number 3, it looks like there's one horse that's got too much of it compared to the rest of the field, at least so far.
Yeah, that's the 2. According to what the data shows, it should get out there, and really nobody should touch it to that quarter pole. And then the 3 has a pretty nice large overlay from 3 to 1, 15 to 1, and the 8 has a small overlay from 3.5 to 1 to 4 to 1. Par numbers, only the 3 has a par numbers, and it's pretty small. And then the 6, 5, 2, and 8 have the best C-zone numbers.
So the 2 horse, 12 to 1 morning line. Some odds say, probably don't have a shot in here, but big chance to get up on the lead. Strong C-zone on a fast track. We'd be all over that. Maybe that doesn't hold the form today. Our race shape for race number 3, the 2 is an NC type along with the 3 and the 9. It means so far in their early careers, these 3 have not been with it. And some of these horses don't have an early career. Some have been running forever. But so far, these 3 haven't been within 5 lengths of the leader in up to the last 10 races. Most of the people middle back get to the front on a normal day. I would suspect that would be a big advantage, Terry. The 5 horse is the lone E type, but very unlikely that he's going to get that. Looks to me like it's going to go to the 2 horse. It's about a 1-length lead over Yaloma. And then really everybody else is about 4 or 5 lengths off of that. So don't be surprised if the 2 gets out to a pretty good lead. That late pace, though, is pretty awful there, though, Terry. So he's going to have to get out to like a half of the field length lead, like half the 6 furlongs, 3 furlong lead, so that he doesn't give it up by the wire. But late speed is only girl in there. Yeah, that's another one. A pretty good advantage over Secret Temptation. Our top total pace horses, Terry, are Secret Temptation, a few points clear of Only Girl, and a little bit of a drop-off from there, Mr. Terry. Looks like these 3 horses are the best, the 3, the 6, and the 8. And, you have most of them, as do I, but we have some others in there, too.
All right. Yeah, I like in this race Only Girl, the 6. She has the highest last speed rating, drops in class today, and she ran second versus Tupper in her last race. Secret Temptation, the 8 is my second choice. She has a high percentage winning trainer and jockey. And Over the Blue Sky, 7 is my third choice. She finished third versus Simner in her last race and has a high percentage winning trainer and jockey. And then I like the 5 is my 3 cups. Full is my long shot, drops in class today and has a high percentage winning trainer and jockey. And I want to let you know that the 4 in the last race that I was thinking it was scratched, it's actually would have been my third choice. So
you want to go back and change that?
I will while we're during the show. Okay.
Yeah. So go ahead and just do that right now while I talk about what I think is going on, because I'm sure it's going to impact your bets too. So I like the 8 horse in the third race in here, Terry. Secret Temptation. Aren't they all in some ways, Terry? Some are a little more obvious than others, but this one showed a little bit better early ability in its last race. Number 2, Treasure. What? Treasure Piece? Is that what the horse? Yeah, Treasure Piece. I mean, I put this one near Terry because only run a couple of times, got a good shot to get on the lead. And when I say only ran a couple of times, you're going to get a sense of why. The 6 horse right here, the one that probably going to be favored, I don't know. Did run the top last race, speed figure. It's going to drop in class. Ordinarily a combination that I really like to see, but I don't like a horse that's had 45 chances to win, and its break is made in Terry, and it's 0 for 45. It's a big number, kind of like Dak Prescott in the playoffs. Number 3, Yoloma. Big overlay in this horse, Terry, plus the Par Plus, the only one in the field that does that. Has a good shot to be close to the front. Was a tough call for me over the 7, the U2 horse over the Blue Sky. That one's 0 for 28. So what do you do with horses that are over 45 and 0 for 28 if they rank out pretty well? I think you got to say they'll find a way to lose. So I did a trifecta, 2, 6, 8, over to 2, 8, over to 2, 3, 6, 7, 8, and I'll just hope that the 2 gets to the lead and keeps it, Terry.
All right.
Were you able to make the changes?
Yeah, I did.
All right, so let's go back to race number 2. Here's what Terry's pick 4 looks like now, folks. 3, 4, 8, and 10, over to 6, 8, over to 8, 9, over to 5, 6, 9, and 12. All right. Off to race number 4. Well, we got number 4 corrected in race number 2. And for the 4th race in a row, Terry, they're going to go.
Another 6 furlongs, and it's another claiming race of $7,500. Purse $21,000 for fillies and mares 4 years and old and upward, which have never won 3 races.
And again, stalkers do well. The inside had been performing better than it did all through 2023, but with the track conditions, let's see how they play out in race number 2. If you see, again, horses coming from the outside and off the pace, kind of make some adjustments to your handicapping as the day goes on. In race 4, Terry, again, early speed could be a factor, and it looks like, I mean, just about everybody has a shot to get to the lead, but one has a bigger chance than the rest.
That's right. That in race 4, it looks like the 9 shows the most speed, but most of them have speed in here, of course.
Mm-hmm.
As you can see there, every one of them have some speed. As far as the overlay, the 9 has an overlay from 5-2 to 4-1, and then the par numbers, there's none really here. And then there's several of the horses have good C-zone numbers.
So looking at the 9, Matty Bow, shot, overlay, shot to be on the lead, should be pretty comfortable there. One of the better C-zone scores. Well, hopefully for that horse, if it gets to the front and you play it, it stays there. Again, another race, Terry, that looks to me like it's more middle back. Ordinarily, on a regular day at Parx, on a fast track, I'd be looking at some of these speed horses. Early on, it does look like Matty Bow is a little bit quicker than Lady Yellen. It's a little bit quicker than Get a Grip Maryland. Kind of like accordion down there or a step down a little bit, Terry. So 9 should be able to clear. Looking at the late speed in here, Terry, we do see Jackie Be Good. About 2 lengths better than everybody else. Probably going to be about 2 lengths off the front runner, too. So pace is going to be everything. Fractions for Jackie Be Good. Does have one of the better total paces. In fact, 5 points clear of the next closest horse. So Jackie Be Good, if all things go according to total pace, Terry, should win this race by about a length. And, well, you don't even have that guy.
No, I don't. I have the 8. Lady Yellen is my top pick. She finished 3rd versus Tougher in her last race. She has a high percentage winning trainer. Matty Bow, the 9, is my second choice. She drops in class today. She has an early foot, so she should improve at this shorter distance. Number 6, So Swell, ran 2nd versus similar in her last race and has the highest last speed rating, my 3rd choice. My long shot's the Fruminator.
You know what a Fruminator is, Terry?
No, I have no idea. Maybe it's a Terminator that eats fruit. I don't know.
I actually have a Fruminator.
You do? What is it?
So for dogs,
it's
like one of those things that you use to take off their excess hair
Oh,
and it's
wow.
called it's called the Furminator. Yeah, and it really does work very well. So if you have a dog, I have, as I've mentioned many times here, my chubby blonde girlfriend, the lab in the house is a little bit overweight because we all overfeed her. Because there's never been a more food motivated animal in my life, but she sheds a lot. I guess labs do shed a lot. So when you do that, when you hit her up with the Furminator, you can definitely see a big difference. And maybe we should see if they'll sponsor the show since we actually know what it is.
Yeah,
But anyway, Terry, enough of that.
Yeah, well, she likes Parx racing. She finished in the money in 46% of the races, winning 15% of those, and she's been at today's distance in the money 57% of the time. Playing a pick 450 cent is the 8-9 with the 5-6-9-12 with the 3-4-11 with the 8-9.
I'm going to start with Maddie Bow, my top pick in there, Mr. Terry. Maddie Bow has a good shot, as we've seen on all of our numbers, to be the pace setter. And this one's going to run at the lowest level of its career. So get to the front on the outside. So all that wetness on the rail shouldn't bother that one at all. Jackie Be Good, the one Terry does not have, that does have that +5 total pace advantage over the rest of the field, is a very consistent performer in Terry. Been off for a little bit, but does like to run at Parx. In the money, 6 out of 9 with a couple of wins, a couple of seconds, and a couple of thirds. So Swell, the 6-horse, this one, Terry, just missed at this level in its last race. And cutting back a little bit in distance today, I think could be useful. And then finally, number 8, Lady Yellen, getting the 4th spot for me. Did show some better early speed last time, along with better pace numbers from the beginning to the middle and the end. And another one where a cutback in distance could be useful. Didn't do a pick 4. I just stuck on my trifecta. 6, 9, 10 of the 9, 10 of the 1, 6, 8, 9, and 10, Terry. And the reason for that is I have found that in my analysis that about 50% of the time, one of the top 2 picks wins from selections. About 60% of the time, it comes from the top 3. So I'm going to kind of try to focus on some of those top 2, top 3 exact, the trifecta types, and see if maybe we start cashing some big. Actually, in the end, I'm supposed to go like 3-3 all is what the strategy is in terms of trifectas, according to what I've been reading in the books lately.
Yeah.
But with my own $100 budget, I can't do that because that would be $9. I could have done that today because it would have been $90 a race. No, it wouldn't have been $9 because you got a lot more on the back end with the alls. Anyway, Terry, my math was pretty messed up there. No taste, no math, but we get away from 1 mile and an eighth.
Yeah,
from 6 furlongs.
Yeah, we're going to 1 mile and an eighth now. So claiming rates of $5,000 claiming price, purse $18,000 for 4-year-olds and upwards, which have not won a race since July 29th.
Man, I wish it was the weather like July 29th. So far at 1 mile and an eighth, Terry, they haven't run very many. Tough to run them when they cancel every day, right? 2024. But they ran 1 race. The horse was second pretty much all the way around the track. And he left from post positions 4 through 7. So 1 race is nowhere near enough data. But if history rhymes, early speed should be okay, Terry. And does look like with the scratch here, 1 horse really should benefit.
That's right. Most of them show some speed, but that 12 shows quite a bit. So if we can get out of that gate without any problems and outbreak the other horses, might get there first. The 5 has a small overlay of from 4.5 to 1 to 5. And then the 9 has an overlay of 2.5, well, 7 to 2, or 5 to 2, I mean, to 4 to 1. And then the 12 shows an overlay from about 6 to 5, 7 to 5 to 5 to 2. Par numbers 6, 12, 9, and 5 have par numbers. And then the season numbers are 4, 6, 10, 11, and 12. Yeah, and they're pretty nice.
Yeah, some strong par numbers in here, too, meaning that Sophos, Screensaver, Cartier Cat, Practical Coach, strong opportunities for all those horses to run a speed figure above 81, which is the average winner for this condition at Parx. Our pace setup in this race, Terry, is yet another race where most everybody wants to be middle back. It's too bad today's not like one of them warm July 29 days where the track is just fast and hard, because we'd really be able to focus in on some of these horses up here maybe and get some good value on the front runners. Early speed, Practical Coach should get to the lead about 4 points quicker than its game time in Cartier Cat. Really, all the inside horses, Terry, don't really have a lot of jump. So that 12 horse as long as it can get past the 10, should not have a problem getting itself to the front, even though it has that outside draw. Late speed, amount on the inside. It and Sophos, those two have a pretty good advantage, about 2 lengths over everybody else. Amount might be so far off the screen that even at the end, he'll just be coming into focus. So Sophos shouldn't be all that far off the pace here, Terry. So, and that outside position could be helpful. Practical Coach scores out as your top total pace horse, along with Sophos and Screensaver. They're considerably better than the rest of the field. Again, 50 over about 60% of the time, the winner comes from the top 3 total pace horses, Terry, at least so far in 2024. They have a pretty good edge over everybody else. So just take all the numbers, the 3, 6, 9, 12, and go home.
All right. Well, I like the 9 Screensaver as my top pick. Ran second versus Simmer in his last race and was the favorite, but has a high percentage winning trainer who brings who wins 29% of the time when bringing a favorite back to race again, and he has a high percentage winning jockey. And then I like 6 as my second choice. Sophos has finished in the money in 4 out of the last 5 races. Drops in class today, has a high percentage winning jockey. And I like Practical Coach, that speed horse, the 12. He third choice, he finished third versus Tougher in his last race. Has a high percentage winning trainer and jockey. Then I like the 5 as my long shot. He drops in class, has a high percentage winning trainer who in the last 14 days has won 2 out of 2 starts, and a high percentage winning jockey. No bet for me in this race.
Mehmet says in the first race, the first 3 horses with the fastest pedigree entered the top 3. In the second race, I will play mixed 10, 7, 8, and 1. I will play the 12 horse in the 5th race, Terry, the middle of the card. Practical Coach does have that pretty strong par plus. Good chance to be on the lead and is our simulation favorite, Terry. Green in every box. I like to see that, including the silks. Number 9, Screensaver. This horse had its speed, held it much longer in that last race. What I mean by that, if you look at the 9 horse, you'll see here real quick, if I can page down a little bit faster. You see here how the speed held up a little bit longer than it did here, right?
Yeah.
So it made it into the stretch, and here it kind of faded off a little bit. So some late race improvement in there. I like that. Jamie Ness was the favorite with that horse last time out, and he comes back the next time around and wins at 30% with the horse that gets beat as the public's choice. So, folks, that 6 horse, Terry, we saw in the top total pace arena, does have some really strong late speed relative to the rest of the field. Last time out, added some additional early speed and dropping in class today. Would have loved to seen a workout. If I would have saw him that, probably would have made it first. And then amounts, that long shot in there, Terry. I'm going to take a shot here. Probably the most consistent performer in the field. Has plenty of back class. Really concerned about that rail position. No. Again, trifecta for me, 9, 12, 6, 9, 12, 1, 5, 6, 9, and 12. Are we looking for race number 2, Mr. Terry?
We have 2 minutes.
All right. So let's do race number 6 in 2 minutes.
All right. I'm ready to go. Let's go with that with 7 furlongs. First time today. Optional claim. $25,000 claiming price, $28,000 purse for 4-year-olds and upwards, which have started for $25,000 or less, which have never won 2 races, or claiming price of $25,000, or which have never won 2 races.
And at 7 furlongs, if you haven't won 2 races, Terry, by now. Anyway, closers have done pretty good. Only 1 out of 12 of the horses that ran 7 furlongs in 2024 went wire to wire. A little bit of a rail penalty for Carnivore. 2 and 3 play fair. 4 through 7 small penalty. The best place to be, I think you'll probably see that to be the case all day today, especially, is on the outside, 8 and out, Terry. A lot of horses in here, but the fastest one scratched out. That means another one should benefit.
That's right. That outside horse, the 12, has the best speed, and the 6 shows a little bit of speed also. The 5 has an overlay of 5.5 to 1 to 8 to 1. 7 has a small overlay of 4 and oh no, it's pretty nice. It has a between 5 to 1 and 12 to 1. And the 11 has a small overlay from about 7 to 5 to 3 to 1. Several of these horses have pretty good par plus numbers, and several also have pretty good C-zone numbers.
Yeah, a lot of competitive races, it looks like. Here we find a little bit for the first time today where half of the field or more wants to be middle forward. So we know the closers, right? That's what we think will happen. So probably in reverse order here today. So if you want to be fast, you want to be the speed of the speed. You can see here, folks, a lot of people just 1 or 2 points to be very competitive early on. That should really give an advantage to horses that have some late race ability. The 10, the 11, the 7, and the 5, those 4 have a little bit more than the rest of the group in here. Looking like the 11, 7, and 5 should be forward or middlely placed. Looking at the top total pace horses in here, Terry, again, kind of accordioning down a little bit, but Rush Center is a little bit, about a half length better than the rest. Take that one out, and you have a really competitive race in there, Terry. Even still, what do you think is going to happen?
I like the 3 Gatekeeper. It's my first choice, finishing the money in the last 3 races, running second versus similar last race. Has a high percentage winning jockey. The 11 Rush Center is my second choice. He has a high percentage winning trainer, and this trainer wins 19% of the time when he takes a horse from a route to a sprint. Has a high percentage winning jockey. 4 Sheriff Ronnie has a high percentage winning trainer. Switch is a high percentage winning jockey. May improve while returning the dirt. He's my third choice. Number 1, Carnivore, is my long shot, ran second versus similar in his last race. Has a high percentage winning trainer and jockey. No bet for me.
I like the 11, 5, 3, and 12. And that's the way I'm going to rank it. We're going to go to race number 2. Let's go ahead and see what happens in race number 2. And I'll tell you why I like the 11. Better early speed, cuts back in distance, going to help. Number 5, Dance Dinny, better across the board, consistent performer. The Gatekeeper, second trip at Parx after coming in from Kentucky, so I still can't consider that a class dropper. Then Game 7, most back class, a couple of really nice works between starts. And in race number 2, the 3 horse, Terry, the one that we thought would get to the lead, is broken out to the front there. And let's see if that speed can hold on in there, Terry. We had him there as a 48% chance. The 8 horse is tracking cold, nice and tight behind that one. As they go through the opening quarter in 22 and 4. The 8 horse is definitely moving in on that 3 horse. Let's see if Taco Bean can hold him off. That 4 horse that you ended at the end there, Terry, coming up on the rail there. The 3 horse continues to maintain its lead. The 8 horse has now got its tail to the backside of the horse. Does look like the 4 is moving pretty well, but there's somebody on the outside of the 4. It looks like the 10 horse is coming with some aggression. The 8 horse has just smoked the 3 horse. 4 horse is now trying to find its way up to catch up with the 8 horse. On the outside, Terry, we're going to get another one that's going to give us some little bit of heartburn at the end of the race here. It looks like, Terry, is that 7 horse again. 4 horse is trying to corral him a little bit, and it looks like he was able to do it. They came about 9 lengths up the track there, so it went 4 and then 7. Box of chocolates, the Forrest Gump horse in there, really giving us a scare at the end. But the 4 horse is your winner, Terry. Good thing that you went back and made that change.
Yeah. I need to be a little more careful, make sure I get the right scratches.
Yeah, it doesn't look like speed's holding up there at all.
No.
And if you look at all those horses on the inside, man, when they come around the corner, they just go straight backwards.
Yep.
The ones that are, trying to plod their way through the slop there.
Yeah.
So I would definitely take a look at the. I don't really know how that 4 holds off that 7 at the end there, Terry. Because that 7 is coming.
Sure was.
It's a good thing that 4 cleared that 10 and could come out and kind of corral him a little bit. Otherwise, he probably runs by. All right, we got 4 races to go, starting in race number 7, Mr. Terry. What do we got?
Okay. Well, in race number 7, we've got a 6.5 furlong claiming race of $15,000 claiming price, purse $28,000 for fillies and mares 4 years and upward, which have not won a race since October 29th. Claiming races for $12,500 or less, not considered, or which have never won 4 races.
And 6.5 furlongs. Our profile of a 6.5 furlong winner. It does favor horses with early speed. 21% of the time. Deion Sanders, prime time. They go wire to wire. Post positions, everybody from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7, a little bit better than par. Not a whole lot better. And a little bit of discount if you wear the 8 or out. Terry, real no deal makers or deal breakers in race number 7. Again, speed could play a factor. I'm going to say probably not for the most part on this day. But if it were to play a factor, Terry, looks like the 8 would be the one that benefits.
That's right. The 8 and the 11 have the most speed, but the 8 shows the most, and then of course you've got the 2 and the 4 there. So anyway, the 9 has an overlay of about 7 to 5 to 3 to 1. Par numbers of 9, 2, 8, and 11 show the best top par numbers. And then as far as the C zones, there's several of them with pretty good C zone numbers.
Look at Our Funny Business, Terry. That 9 horse got that good overlay, strong par plus, should be very comfortable, not going to be chasing out on the lead, up on the outside from what we've seen so far today. A lot of good things perhaps favoring the 9 in that spot. See if the race shape favors the 9 again. Another day, Terry, where if it was normal, man, I think if it was one of those fast track days, we could really make a killing over here on the left side, but everybody wants to be middle back. Speed would normally do good in this scenario. A lot of horses are competitive. It does look like most of them are on the outside. The 4 horse could get everybody. Aaron's Enthusiasm, the lone E, some struggle. So 4 gets to the lead, could cause some damage as the lone E. Everybody's looking for him. Peace, love, and karma, my man. That's a good way to live your life. It's about a 2-length advantage coming down the stretch. So based upon what we've seen today, maybe just consider throwing the 6 into your picks no matter what. On your top total pace, Terry, looking at this race, Bravo Zulu, Larimore, Our Funny Business, Cause I Said. Those are your top 4. Again, 60% of the time the winner comes from there. Terry, you got any of them in your thoughts?
I sure do. I got Larimore. The 8 is my top pick. Won her last race at Parx Racing. Has a high percentage winning trainer and jockey. I like that. 9 is my second choice. Our Funny Business is she has had a really good career, been in the money 52% of the races and won 29% of those starts. Has a high percentage winning jockey and trainer. Number 4 is my third pick. Drops in class today. Has a high percentage winning jockey. And then Peace, Love, and Karma is my long shot, the 6. Likes Parx Racing, been in the money 66% of the time, won 17% of the starts, and she's finished 100% of the time at today's distance in the money. And I'm going to play a 50-cent pick 4. I'm going to use the 8-9. I'm going to single the 8 in the 8th. I'm going to use the 2, 3, 7, 9, and then finish up with the 4, 8, 10, 11.
So right now they're reviewing this race, Mr. Terry, because the 4 horse went in front of the 10 horse. I'm going to tell you right now, they're not going to make a change.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, if I'm the steward, it's not going to make a change at all because 1, the 7 had already cleared the 10 to the outside, right?
Yeah.
So the 10 was not going to beat the 7, and the 4 didn't interfere with the 7, and the 10 still finished 3rd, right?
Yep.
So I think they're going to. If I'm a steward. And what's crazy is Parx is usually done like that, right? So going on for a while. So I don't know who's riding the 4 horse, but hopefully he's in the good graces or she's in the good graces of the stewards. The 4 horse was by the 10. He wasn't going to beat it. The 7 was going to beat the 10. Absolutely nothing changed in the order of finish as the way it would have been. I think under those rules, there's no reason to DQ the 4, in my opinion, because it did not interfere with the 7.
All right.
That would be the way I would rule it, Terry. I like the 9 horse in here. That's how I'm going to rule this race. Our Funny Business. It's going to be running at the lowest level in its last 8 races, and a horse that's really consistently performed okay against better horses. So a little class relief helps today. Bravo Zulu, the 11 horse, Terry. At Parx 3 times out, including the top last race speed figure. 2 of those Parx wins in 3 races. That top last race speed figure, 3 points clear of the next closest horse. The resume says odds are this horse will improve in round 2 off the bench. Cause I Said, he's at the Ric Flair horse, right? 3rd up, and the last race was better than it looks on paper. Similar fractions last time out at 6.5 furlongs compared to 6. And then finally the 8 horse Larimore. This one's been off since February. Does have some early speed. First at Parx, and the works are pretty decent in there, Terry. If it had been off a little bit less time and had some better workouts, I would have ranked it a little bit higher, but that time off was a little bit of and it's like coming off the bench record, didn't really fire. So for me, pick 4, 2, 9, 11. Hopefully I don't make a mistake without your 8 in mind. 5, 8, 2, 3, 8, 11, 12, and 13 on the back end. Let's go back and see if they've made any changes or if they're still.
They did not. They made it official. The 4 won the race and 7 second, 10 third. And I think a lot of it also has to do with how close they were to the finish lines when it happened. So,
Mhm. Well, I think from what I understand is that the standard is, did it alter the outcome of the race? Like, did anybody lose a position? And I don't, I didn't, or if it's like a flagrant fault, like you whack the other jockey or horse with your whip or something stupid like that. But
yeah.
it didn't alter the outcome of the race. So I would think it, unless the stewards had money on the 7, there was no reason to take it down. All right, Terry. Hopefully, we're gonna have some money on a winner too in race number 8.
All right, let's look at this race number 8. It's a mile and 70 yards. It's a claiming race for $10,000 claiming price. Purse $26,000 for 4-year-olds and upwards, which have not won a race since October 29th. Claiming races for 8,000 or less are not considered, and which have never won 4 races.
So surprisingly, we see in all the sprints that closers do well, right? So would stand the reason in a route, 2-turn route. Yeah, maybe a closer makes sense too. But no, so far, early speed has really dominated a mile and 70 yards in 2024 in Bensalem, Pennsylvania. 44, Chuck Foreman going wire to wire. So far, nobody's won from the rails. So Predominate is going to have to do something to dominate today. 2 and 3 actually get a little bit of a bonus. So I don't know how that makes sense. And I think with all that water on the inside today, again, you could find that to be a struggle. And you even saw that the 4-horse was what, like 8 lengths off the rail, Terry?
Yeah.
Or 8 lanes off the rail, maybe more there at the finish line. 8 and out, do get a big bonus in here, Terry. Early speed has been useful. Maybe by that time of the afternoon, it could be useful.
Could be, but the 8 shows the most speed, with the 3 and the 2 showing some speed also. It's anybody's guess, really, who gets that quarter pole first. And then 5 has a nice overlay from 5 to 1 to 10 to 1. The 8 has a nice overlay from 4 to 5 to 4 to 1. The par numbers 8, 5, and 4 have the only par numbers in there. And most of these horses have some kind of C-zone numbers, but the 8, 10, and 5 have the best C-zones.
And then, of course, over here, we see in race number 8, is where we are now. Again, another race, Terry, middle back, get to the front, should have a good shot. The 9-horse wants to be on the lead, but according to this, probably won't be anywhere near the lead. He could be dead last. So he's unlikely to be your lone E today. Cobble Road, the 3-horse, Hornbeam, they should be there. But Cobble Road, about 3/4 of a length quicker than everybody else out of the gates. Probably going to be your pace setter, or at least has a good shot at it. Re-Rally, the 8-horse, the 2-horse. Look, a lot of these horses, Terry, very similar late speed numbers in here. This is shaping up to be a pretty competitive race, but you do have a little bit of advantage with the 8 and the 6 clearly ahead of everybody else. Maybe just take those 2 and put them in an exacta trifecta box and hope to hit something. Terry, what do you got?
All right. I have my pick of the day as my first choice, Re-Rally, the 8. It's finished in the money in 9 out of last 10 starts, winning 5 of those starts. And he's ran second versus similar to last race. The 10 is my second choice, won 1 race out of 2 starts at Parx Racing, and he has a high percentage winning jockey. The 1 is my third choice, drops in class today, has a high percentage winning jockey, and he has a good workout on January 23rd. St. Marco, the 2 is my long shot, finished 3rd versus similar in his last race, has the highest speed figure at today's distance, and his best start speed is fastest among today's starters. I'm going to use up the rest of my budget and bet 20 to win on number 8.
El Ocho getting $20. I'm going to go with the 8-horse too, Terry, but I'm not going to put $20 on that one. It is your sim favorite in here. Decent shot to be forward, maybe even on the lead in here. Terry does have the best C-zone score in here. Also has by far the best par plus score in there. Also, best last race speed figure, 6 points. That's the biggest differential on the card today for Re-Rally. 5 consecutive speed figure increases, Terry. According to our friend Barry Meadows, anything more than 3 in a row, that's an alpha angle. Means wins at more than 15%. Samarati, the 5-horse, Terry, my second choice, also one that's a little bit of an overlay, has a nice par plus score in there. Going to be coming from off the pace, Terry. I didn't know that would be the key before the races started today, but based upon the races have gone so far, that could be good and really won't be all that far off the lead in this group. Number 1, Predominate, Rail hasn't won yet, but maybe this one can change that. I don't know with all of that mess on the inside, but dropping in class, really nice, strong workout between races. Again, looking at my race notes after we review the day, I'm finding dropping in class with a nice workout is one of the leading comments for winners. And then Hornbeam, the 6-horse, very consistent in its performance, was from race to race to race. Cutting back a little bit in distance today could be a reason why the horse is at the upper end of its ability. I'm almost all out of money too, Terry, so no bet for me in here. So we'll move on to race number 9, the beginning of the late daily double.
All right. Yeah, it's another mile and 70 yards. It's an allowance race, first allowance race today, $8,000. It's a purse of $30,000 for 4-year-olds and upward, which have started for a claiming price of $8,000 or less since January 29th, 2022.
And again, at a mile and 70 yards, 44% of the time they've gone wire to wire. On the outside is better than on the inside, Terry. So is there any outside speed? There is.
Yeah, there is. Terry. Yeah, most of them show some kind of speed, but that 8 shows really good speed. And then the 7 has an overlay of like 5-2 to 5-1. The par numbers, all of them have decent par numbers, but the 6, and then we've got all of them, but the 3 have good C-zone numbers.
Yeah, I mean, just looking at these numbers in here, Terry, it looks like there's a little demon, a lot of green across the board there, and might be something that tears up our pick 4s in there if we don't put them in there.
Yeah.
Early speed, again, look at the 6 and the 8, Terry, all off by themselves. These are over here. This group, a little bit of flexibility in the PC type, so they can probably move forward if they need to. If the 6 and the 8 can get off to a good start, get up, and they're on the outside there too, Terry. So, the inside track shouldn't really bother them. Really not that big of an advantage over everybody but the 4 and the 5 in there. As they come down the stretch, Terry, Kingsville and Olympic Romp, those two have some really high-end late speed. Really not going to be far off the pace here either with this crew. As far as your early speed, late speed, your total pace, you got 3 horses. The 2, the 7, and the 8, Terry, cut better than the rest of the field with at least 5 points better. Maybe those 3 are your exacta trifecta box.
Well, I like this 7, Kingsville. He finished 3rd in his last race at Parx Racing. Has a high percentage winning jockey and trainer. He's my first choice. Malibu Star, the 3 is my second choice. Ran 2nd versus Tupper in his last race. Drops in class today. Has the highest speed figure at today's distance, and his best start speed is fastest among today's starters. A lot of boxes marked off there. Number 2 is my 3rd pick, Olympic Romp. Has won 3 races in a row, and he has a high percentage winning jockey, so he likes to win. And then number 9 is my long shot, finishing the money in 5 starts, winning 2 of those. Drops in class today, and he has the highest, has a high percentage winning trainer and jockey. So
I like the 3-horse Malibu Star, Terry, because this one's coming down in class after all of its internals were better in its last race there, Terry. And I mean, this one has by far the most back class. If it can find any of it, maybe. I mean, if it finds its back class here somehow, showed some improvement last time, it could win pretty easily an otherwise very competitive race. Olympic Romp, as you mentioned, Terry, likes to win. Won its last 3, but won 5 of its last 7. The trainer claimed them and now going to drop them. Did that once this year, won that race. Number 8, Little Demon. Who's the little demon of our group there, Terry? Do we have one like that? I don't think we have one yet. This is the dynamic duo of Jamie Ness, Ruben Silvera. You can't bet against that combination at Parx. This one's dropping in class here, Terry. Some really good workouts. Comes in from the Naira circuit. Done most of its work so far at either Saratoga, Aqueduct, and but it has run at Parx twice before. Won one of them and ran out of the money in the other. So that's the reason why I didn't just put it at the top on the track drop, because of the fact that it did miss once at Parx. Kingsville, the 7-horse, is your top total pace horse, about 4 points clear of everybody else. So according to that, should win by about 3/4 of a length. And it does fit what we've seen so far today. This one could be rolling the best at the end. The last race of the day for us, Terry. Didn't get canceled. Nobody's sick. We'll be back to do Parx again tomorrow. Well, I don't want to say that because who knows what the weather will be like, but weather withstanding, we'll be back, and they go back to 6 furlongs.
That's right. 6 furlongs to finish up the day. $7,500 claiming race. It's a purse of $21,000 for fillies and mares, 4-year-olds and upward, which have never won 2 races.
And my thing doesn't want to work here. What the hell's going on? I don't know. In any case, 6 furlongs. Typically, speed used to do really well. 2024, 27% of the time. I mean, 2023, 27% of the time, it's done good in 2024. There was a strong inside bias till today. You're going to see all those numbers change. Small penalty from 8 and out, big penalty from 4 and 7. Terry, let's see if by the end of the day the track can dry out and speed have some advantages. And if so, that horse on the rail, man, a lot will the track is going to have to change today for the one to take advantage of that.
Yeah, that one has a lot of speed. The 10 shows some speed, and then there's the 12 and the 13. The 11, 12, and 13, let's see, the 11 has an overlay of about 3-1 to 6-1. 12 is from almost 3-1 to 3.5-1, and the 13 is from 3.5-1 to 6-1. The par numbers 11, 12, 13, and 1 all show some par numbers, and then all of them but the 6 and 8 have really good C zones.
Yeah, so you might have par plus on the outside, right? And
Yeah.
then on the inside. So maybe a little barbell exacta trifecta. In the last race of the day, we do find finally the first balanced race of the day. You do have the 2 and 7, Lucky Breeze and Colette's Spirit, showing that so far they haven't been able to finish close to the winner at the finish line early on. Let's see what it looks like. Early speed does favor that horse on the rail. 5-star Fran. Probably, I mean, that one might have to just jet out and then just go 6 wide right away, right? It's the opposite of what you normally want to see, inside speed. But in any case, it does have about an 1/8 of a length lead over Augie's Girl. On the stretch run, which has been winning races today, Incomparable, that one does pretty well. But Bruno's Barber Girl will be pretty much maybe 2 lengths in front of it. Maybe not enough for Incomparable to catch that one. Our top total pace, we do have a very competitive race in here. Again, it looks like, Terry. Yeah, very competitive. You're looking at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 horses within a bump or a misstep of each other. This competitive last race of the day, Terry, you like the 8 horse to finish it off.
That's right, I do. Although I think it's very wide open, and if I had the budget, I would have went all in this race. But the 8, Little Late Luck, is my top choice. Been knocking at the door at Parx Racing, running second versus Similar in her last couple of races. Number 10, Black Diamond Rain, finished third versus Tougher in her last race and dropped some class today. And my second pick, number 4, my third pick, Cloudy Times, drops in class today and has a high percentage winning trainer. The 11, Bruno Barber Girl. She ran second versus Similar in her last race and has earned the highest last speed rating. Is my long shot, and of course I have no money, so I'm not going to make any bets today on this race.
I am going to go ahead and put the 12 horse on top. So some really interesting. You and I have some difference of opinion in this one. I got that because what do we only agree on the 11? Is that right? Hey, everything else is different. So again, just illustrating that it's a pretty wide open race. Pachelbel drops to its lowest class of its career. Really nice workout between races. Bruno Barber Girl, the 1 horse, Terry and I, no, 2, we agree on the 8 and the 11. Okay, Bruno Barber Girl, 3 consecutive speed figure increases in a row. That is an alpha angle, winning at 15% or more. Better through the first half mile of its last race. That's something that Craig Milkowski from Time Forum US told us to keep an eye on. And cutting back in distance today should be helpful. Augie's Girl, I love when these AEs get in, Terry. The trainers always want in for a reason. This is the reasons probably that this is the right distance for this horse. It's run 3 times with a win and a second. It's tried other distances 5 times and hasn't managed to hit the board at all. And then finally, it was a tough call between the 1 and the 8 for me, but I went ahead with the 8 horse in here. Little Late Luck at Parx, 4 times out, 3 seconds. I probably should have put him in second instead of 4th, Terry. This one's done pretty good too after a little bit of rest.
Yeah.
Won its debut, and the other time it came off the bench like today, it won. Trifecta, 11, 12, 13, over 11, 12, 13, over the 1, 8, 11, 12, and 13 to wrap it up for our first day at Parx in almost, 3 weeks?
Yep. Been 3 weeks. Yeah. So anyway, yeah.
Here are our full picks for the rest of this day. The first race is in the books. Neither one of us had the 8-horse that won that first race. The 4-horse coming home for both Terry and I after a little bit of a review. Yeah, I don't know what stewards were thinking there, but 4-horse is in the winner's circle to start both of our pick 4s off. Let's see if we can finish them off. Again, Terry and I will be back tomorrow. We'll do Parx again. Mahoning Valley is one of the other 2 tracks running. It is a free pick of the day down there in the description for guaranteed tip sheet. Kindly use that so they know where it is that you are coming from. Here, I think that wraps it up for today. Any final thoughts from you before we get up and get out of here?
Yeah, I just want to congratulate you on how you rocked it on the Pecos Cup day with the picks that you put out there and your at guaranteed tip sheet, and you hit several pick 3s, pick 4s, pick 5. You hit the pick 6. Really did a great job, and wanted to congratulate you on that. So.
Yeah, we did really good at the Pegasus. I was really happy about that, and considering how many horses in there that were like what $18, $19, $20 winners, and most of them were in our top 2 picks. I think after the first race, we had the winner in our top 3 picks. I think only twice was it the 3rd pick. Every other time it was 1st or 2nd. And then outside the first race, we had the winner all the way down the card. So we had all the pick 3s, pick 4s, pick 5, pick 6. It was a really fun day. The next wagering guide weekend is going to be the Rebel down there in Oaklawn Park. It's a $1.2 million race. That's a prep for the Kentucky Derby. Speaking of preps for the Kentucky Derby, this Saturday is the Holy Bull, right? And didn't Forte run in the Holy Bull last year?
Yeah, I think so.
Right. So last year's Kentucky Derby winner ran in the Holy. Did he win the Holy Bull last year? No, he lost, right?
I don't.
No,
yeah,
no. Who won? Who? No, no. Forte won. It was Mage who also ran and that lost to Forte, but made that big move but couldn't finish. So you had 2 of the major players in last year's Derby Trail running the Holy Bull. So keep an eye on that. It's going to be a big race this weekend. My experience has been going through and reviewing more often than not. The Kentucky Derby winner comes from either Gulfstream Park or Santa Anita. Not always, but
a lot
those
of times.
2 are the most prominent. Yeah. In any case, that wraps it up for this Muddy Monday or Sloppy Monday at Parx. Of course, no matter what you're doing for the rest of this day, we certainly hope that you have God's grace, God's favor. Want to say thank you to Jimmy Little, Rebecca Pollard Rhodes for the thumbs up on Facebook. If you like what you saw, a couple things, hit the share button on YouTube. Take that link and put it across all your social sites. Hit the subscribe while you're here. Hit the like button on all of our sites down there below. And no matter what it is you do for the rest of this Monday, Terry, we hope it ends up in the only place everything should end up.
And that's the winner's circle.
Indeed. Terry and I look forward to joining you tomorrow. Have a great day. The end.